We are on our infrastructure, section 80. Councillor Lowe, can you lead us, please?
In pray. You know, when you ask me for prayer, this means you said you are not going to speak today because you are praying. Baie dankie Here vir die geleentheid wat U vir ons gee om met U kan wees, Here, dat ons hier versterk ons, Here, alles wat ons sal bespreek, Here, dit sal goed sal wees in Jesus naam. Amen.
Thank you. Greetings to everyone. Councillor Lowe, Councillor Arendse, Director of Corporate Service, Director of Infrastructure, Manager Sean and Roy, Director of Housing, Director of Planning, Councillor Luzuko is also present, Councillor Winston is also present, members present, as I've already mentioned. Arends. Afrikaans and English is not ungu arende in Xhosa. Arende. That's how it's written in Xhosa. As I've mentioned, audit committee was present. None. Members of the public, none. Then we go in page 3.1, noting for the provision of Schedule 1 Code of Conduct, which is in page 4, for councillors of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act 32 of 2000 and Code for Ethnical Leadership as adopted by council. Can we go?
Yes.
Thank you. Minutes of previous meeting, 20 February 2025 is on page 5. There's a recommendation there.
Yes, we can, Director.
Director?
Good morning, Chair. Morning, councillors. Chair, I may have missed when we were at 2.2. I just want to make apologies for Mpumi. He's attending an urgent BEC. Brian should be on his way to attend on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, Mr. Johnny Walker. Nou gaat die plek warm wees. Just put my stuff right. Execution list?
Now we can we move the minutes, the previous minutes, the adoption of the minutes, Chairperson?
Okay.
Yes, I will move for the adoption of the minutes.
Okay. Councillor Arendse, are you fine? Okay, thanks.
Chair, I second it. Thank you.
Matters submitted by the municipal manager, which is on page 10. Recommendation that the report on the request.
Councillor, Chairperson, I see you have moved for the execution list. That is fine, Chair.
Recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Chairperson and your committee, the officials, and the residents that are listening on YouTube. Chair, just on the execution list on page 8, that second item there, that the B recommendation, that council feels the vacancies as critical. There's no status of execution. I would like to know as to how far are we there. If maybe we can just get a verbal report or something like that, just an update on the status. Page 8, Chairperson. Thanks. On the report of the Roads, Transport and Stormwater and Building Maintenance Division, the recommendation be there.
Director will respond on that, Councillor Chokolo.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, the progress, it's basically as per the approved adjustments budget, those vacancies that was accommodated in the adjustments budget. And then on the approved draft budget, there are some positions for the department, roads and stormwater. I think for the next meeting, we should just update which positions have been budgeted for, and then we will be able to start filling them once the budget is approved at end of May. So maybe next time we can separately, under the report submitted by the relevant manager, just update their section on vacancies, if that's in order. Thank you, Chair.
Follow-up, Councillor Luzuko.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. I think we would appreciate that, Chairperson, as it give us more information. Just on another one, Chair, on your execution list, I think the purpose of the execution list was to follow up on to what Council has made recommendations on or like that. But I see now in this execution list, there's a lot of items that were just for noting, but they are on the execution list. I don't know, maybe is it for, because I remember one chairperson of a committee said we're just having the reports just to make sure that the agenda is thick. I don't know whether maybe even here is the purpose, because I don't see why we should have items that were for noting on the execution list. So I think we need to remove those and only have items that have recommendations like the one that I've mentioned now. Because I don't see the purpose of having items on execution list for noting. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Chokolo. Councillor Low.
No, it's fine, Chairperson.
Recommendation that the report on request for information on water services intermediaries have been noted. It's on page 11. Can we go with the recommendation?
Yes, Chairperson.
7.1. It's the same. Those are two, it's the same one. 7.2, expenditure of the Main Street Maintenance Grant 2024-2025, which is on page 18.
Chairperson, when I go through this report, this one, I see the financial implications and all this kind of stuff. And I'm starting to get very confused is that we have always have a situation of our money have to go back because somehow we are not doing what you're supposed to do in the sense of making sure that the tender is going out on time and planning is to deal with it. And when I read here, I see that the financial implication, this will have the effect that the grant will not be paid out this financial year as it was not expected to the provincial certificates, that they are not certified. My question is that where lie the problem when you're dealing with these things? Is it in supply chain? Is it in the user department? Or where is it? So we can precisely know where is the problem. Because when it comes to our main roads are very important. Monday, I was in Worcester. I was driving there in the main road. And I said to the MM, I don't see a pothole in this main road. But there are big trucks that are driving through that main road. Big truck. I talk about big trucks. Same as night. I don't see potholes here. Now my question is that when we're dealing with this money that we are supposed to get from the provincial government, are we ready to implement it like they prescribe for us to do?
Noted, Councillor Low. Councillor Venston?
Good
Vensti?
morning, morning, Chairperson, morning, committee, morning, directors. Thank you for acknowledging me, Chairperson. I need clarity and feedback around if we look at page 19 under financial implications. It gives us around the inability of the department to expend the funds in time. And if we look at the second paragraph, it says that the department continued to engage with the SCM from August, and then it put out the RFQs on the 24th of February 2025. And then it proceeded, but then it states there that the department duly submitted RFQ documents on the 28th, and then it should be finalized by the date of this meeting. Are they referring to our current Section 80 that we're having today? And can we please just have an explanation and clarity around what are they trying to say with this financial implication? If we can have the clarity around that and the status progress of where we currently are and for this. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Councillor Vincent. Although that I'm not into this, but as we can see there up there, there was a contractor that was appointed in, yeah, and then when it has to start it and then withdraw. But I'm not going to dwell on it, but this is what sometimes when we are in these kinds of situations, it complicates the work because it was already done and then at the last minute. I remember when I said here, if we could have scanned people and see that in this period of time, this one will change. No divorces were supposed to go on in this country or in the whole world, but just because we don't have machines to scan the people, but the department can comment on this. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you, Chair. Chair, you will notice this report basically refers to activities that were meant actually to be implemented, and Sean was the generator. You can just maybe add on. The Provincial Municipal Main Roads Grant work on the condition that the municipality spend the money based on pre-approved works that they may work on, and then afterwards they claim back 80% of the actual spend. So it was gazetted according to the report, 130,000 Rand would have been due to the municipality, but the municipality then had to spend at least 162,000 Rand to claim back the 80%. Now, the rest of the history that Sean put in there, I'll hand over to him. What is important to note about the grant, annually it must be spent, I think, end of January. We must submit our claims so that they can then refund us before the end of their financial year, which is March. Now, in terms of Section 79 of the MFMA, we've got a duty to declare as well to council where, especially grants, where we underperform. And the purposes of this is basically to inform our committee that based on this grant, there was underperformance, and the background is given in the report. Thank you, Chair. Sean, if you want to add.
Thank you, Director. Just to add to what the Director says, the timeline on this grant is different than other grants. The actual timeline of the grant is actually a 6-month grant and not a 12-month grant. The grant is gazetted in the first quarter of the provincial financial years, March until June, but it's only recognized in our budget in our new financial year. That means from July onwards. So that is when our period starts. We have to complete the work by December in that year so that it can be verified by the province by the end of January, the latest. So in effect, we only have 6 months to spend the grant. It's an operating expense grant. And like the Director said, we must spend the money and we must claim it back. If we don't spend, we don't get it back. So it's not a prepaid grant. So it's not money we're giving back. It's money that we will not receive. And the history of it is here. Just to bring councillors then up to speed, the tender's still not been awarded. The T9 tender's still in supply chain. So the vehicle that we relied on to carry out the work has still not been awarded, where we are now. We have also had...
No, I want him to, because I didn't hear correctly what he was saying. Where the vehicle is a situation.
Maybe not the right word. The mechanism that we were relying on to carry out the work, T9, has still not been awarded by the municipality. T9 was awarded in time. It's only 130,000 rand worth of work. I mean, it's 2 weeks worth of work at best. So it was going to be quick, in and out. The province also said that you will do it by mechanical means. No EPWP, no labor intensive, you will do it with machines. And that's why we needed that tender. So, during my absence, year before last, that is when the province came and said, we lost the grant previous financial year as well. When we did the work and the province said, no, we're not happy with the quality, no labor intensive work, must do it by machine. Because historically, we've always been doing it that way. And so that is why we changed the strategy when I returned and said, okay, given the input from the province, this is how we're going to do it. And so we are where we are now. We are still basically stuck in supply chain. We have now been advised that we can go out to RFQ because we have not appointed that. But that was too late. It's after the fact. So this is to bring, like the director was saying, in terms of MFMA, to inform council of grants that will not be spent.
Thank you, Speaker, and then Councillor Low. Councillor Chokolo.
Thank you. Greetings to everyone. Cleona, you're back, old tricks again. Speak from home. Chair, the worrying factor that has been raised by the manager. We as councillors are here for service delivery. I think I'll go back to what I've proposed to the mayor and all of you there. I think MMCs and the old directorate need to sit, because this issue of each one blaming each one and frustrating each other does not assist our people. You see now, we've lost money because staff is stuck there by supply chain. And we continue to lose things. And then this thing come back to us as political heads. That's all I wanted to register.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Low.
Sorry, Chairperson, I don't want to go deep into it. Who is representing finance here? Can you give us explanation around it?
I think you should, through me, you should ask, yeah.
Chairperson, through you, I will
And
do
gooi
that.
for Mornay on the
No, I didn't go through the bus because it was clear here. The directive said underperformance. His manager said, this is where it's stuck. Now we want to find out the bottom why it's stuck there. That's why I throw it like that.
Mornay.
Through you, Chair, unfortunately, I will not be able to give information now, but I would advise while we in the Section 80, I will liaise with Ronnie to give further information on that.
Thanks, Chairperson. Through to, this municipality also called for team meetings. Teams meetings. Yesterday was team meetings here. This is where we have to address issues like that. Because we can't have a situation, things have to be done. The youth apartment, they have done what they're supposed to done. Then we are stuck in somewhere. And what you said is 100 and something thousand rand. It's not 20 million rand that we have to fight now around. It's 100 and something thousand rand. Use, so on, as the manager said, you can do it in 2 weeks' time, you can done it in 2 weeks' time. But it's stuck. So I really don't, and I will say to the MM, when it comes to these team meetings, it is where issues have to be addressed thoroughly and executed. So mine is that we have to get explanation around the chairperson, because no use you are going to dwell here. Supply chain manager is not here. Unless you are going to call so we can find out from the supply manager here. Around this, but why it's been stuck. Why we can't move around it.
Thank you, Councillor Low. Councillor Luzuko, then Councillor Winston. Councillor Winston, you're not going to speak again on this item.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, yeah, I think with the explanation that has been given by Mr. Murray, I think we understand his situation in that department as to what happened in the past. But I do want us to maybe look at going forward, if I heard him correctly now, we won't have too much hassles with spending the money, looking at now that the department has said the RFQ can also be used. And I think our issue was this tender T9, which was our problem, which is SCM. So looking at it going forward, we won't have issues because we'll have options now. If the tender is not working out, we will be able to go out on RFQ. So that's what I just want to highlight. But my question on this one as well is to try and understand it. I don't know what's the frequency of the province doing the N2 or no, Sanral or so, or maybe even the province. If you look at the N2 now, it's been resurfaced, and if you look at where they start and where our portion starts as the municipality, it doesn't look good. Isn't there a way when Sanral is going to do an upgrade or resurface the N2, that we as a municipality also be topped up on the grant that we're getting, or try and have more money so that we have the same quality of road from town up to the N2. I just don't know how it works, but if you look at it now, it doesn't look good. As you get onto Neisner on the N2, the road is top class, but as you enter town, it's bad. So isn't there a way whereby you can get to a situation whereby when they upgrade the road, it also goes down to town, and it's the same quality? That's my question. Thanks.
Councillor Chokolo, in 2011, I was also asking that question about Senra. And I even said that, is it possible for us to meet with Senra? It's not on our league. Senra is on his own. So that's all that I know, that even although it's something that is good what you are saying, but Senra will never, and we will never be in the league of Senra, because Senra is running the whole country. Not only here, it means that, say, Saka's fed, and we are only a municipality whereby we are only getting 1 billion. So we can't compare ourselves with Sanral, because even if you want to assist us, he could have assisted us long time ago. That's the question that I was asking in 2011 when I was in this council. And I was told that it's impossible, it will never happen. Even I think me and Councillor Skosana by that time, we wanted to meet Sanral about the bridge that was built, and we mentioned it here that bridge was built in a wrong place. Hence, people are not using it, but it was all in vain. Look at it now. So I hear what you are saying, and it's a good thing, but I don't see that it's going to happen. But let the director respond.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, yes, so the road traversing through town, it's a proclaimed provincial main road, of which the municipality is only the agent, and hence we get 80% subsidy from the province. So there's still a discussion to be had with the district roads engineer, who is the ultimate authority of the road and who provides the 80% funding. Now, the funding works in two streams. One, this one that we've lost now, we only qualified for 130,000 Rand worth of grant value from province for maintenance activities. However, the conditional assessment should determine whether there's actually a need for capital upgrade as well. So there's a second portion to the grant, and the provincial main roads authorities functions to also fund major rehab type work. So I will engage with the manager. We need to still meet with the DRE as well to see what we may qualify for in future. Maybe there's a need for capital upgrade, which will be much more. And then that project will have its own requirements as per province's standard specifications. So at this stage, this was only 130, like I said, operational. This is for pothole fixing, et cetera, and so on. However, if there's a need for capital upgrade, major rehabilitation, and so on, there would be a requirement upon us to do a business plan with the conditional assessment recommendations, estimates, to support such higher grant funding then. So that is in the pipeline. Between me and Sean, we haven't got to that detail yet. I think for now it was important that we declare what we received in the past, and I think the history that Sean painted was that there was in the past also underperformance, but there's an opportunity now to reset things and get the road up to the required standard as per SANRAL and province standards. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Vancy. Net 'n krummeltjie. Jy gaan nie weer want jy sit daar met jou koppie koffie. Net 'n krummeltjie.
Thank you, Chairperson. No, Chairperson, it's called a follow-up. Thank you for allowing the follow-up. So it's very concerning to me that, as Sean has said, and let me thank Sean and the Director for their feedback, but it's concerning because, as Sean has said, we've lost the grant previously. Now it's the second time we have lost the grant. So when do we learn from our mistakes? And now that we have an appointed permanent director, I do request that you please take this up with the MM and the CFO and all the other departments who are responsible for causing the failure of us losing this grant. We need to ensure that all departments work together. We cannot keep losing grants. It's unacceptable. And if that is the case, then we need to implement consequence management. That word is big in all of our section 154 plan and every other feedback that we have. Consequence management needs to be implemented. So I hope we learn from this and we don't have this for a third time round. And then through you, Chairperson, to the Speaker, virtual hybrid meetings are allowed, and he has the authority over that. So he must please
I
stop
didn't give
commenting.
you this over to talk to the speaker because the speaker didn't recognize you. I didn't. Vancy, haal hy hand af asseblief. Dankie.
Can we move, Chairperson? Is it
There's a recommendation.
Yes, but before we go there, Chairperson, is it possible that we also are being informed about the process, how far, because this is a supply chain, this is a finance issue that we are dealing with here, that didn't do what they're supposed to do.
I think as Monet have said that he is going to give because he's contacting the management.
My problem is with this Section 80. I'm worrying the MM is not here. I will stop debating issues of Section 80 in a council meeting. When this financial issue comes up in Section 8, you are my direct in the agenda. We won't debate this issue there. When the one finance must come in account, we'll move. In this item, when it's there in the agenda of council, we'll move. They must sort stuff here. As we said that in the last meeting, Section 80s are there to be debated until tomorrow. In fact, in the last time, everyone was sitting in this chamber when we have Section 8. Because all departments must be present so that stuff like this have been addressed. Salary. Because I won't allow my council meeting to sit until the following day while people had an opportunity to respond to issues. I just wanted to register to those chairperson of the mayor. All of them are here. Low is here. You are here. Some are listening. They must know now when they run their Section 80s.
Thank you, Speaker. That's the truth that we can't run away from it because when we are talking about infrastructure, we are talking about the department that is the life because it carries water, it carries sanitation, it carries the electricity and the roads. So I agree with you 100% that all departments should be here when we are doing the Section 80 of Monet. Can you answer for Councillor Low? And then
Yeah, Chair, with your indulgence, if I can ask Ronnie to join us to give feedback. I think it would be unfair for me to respond on that since I've not even seen the agenda as well. I haven't gone through the agenda, so it will be unfair to me to respond.
Paris, I'm not going to allow any people to speak 2 times on one item. Anders gaat ons eten.
Yes, no, Chair, I understand your position, but just remember, this is what the Speaker is saying. We can't debate these items in council, so we need to deal with them here. No, but what I wanted to say, Chair, is that I am serving on the Finance Committee, and the supply chain management report tells us exactly as to what happening with a certain tender. So I think it is, I've noted it, I think it is important that maybe even members of the committee have got an issue that relates to a finance, then please make sure that you attend that meeting and zoom into what you actually had problems with. So I think that problem of T9, I've made a note, I will be looking into as to what's happening there. So I just wanted to advise on that as well, if that, because you will have situations like that whereby you don't get the responsible person of the directorate, and they've got valid reasons at times. But we can always go and look at the actual report, the agenda of finance, and see what's happening. Thanks.
There's a recommendation on page 20 that the report on the expenditure of the Main Street Maintenance Grant 2024-25 be noted. Can we note the report, Councillor Lowe, Councillor Arendse?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. 7.3 on page 21. Report from the Director of Infrastructure Services. And there's a recommendation on page 22.
Chair, thank you. This report, it's a statutory requirement for municipalities to annually update this, what they call a MUSA, or Municipal Strategic Self-Assessment report. What it highlights is basically the municipality as a water services authority's vulnerability in terms of executing their mandated functions. And you will notice that for Neisner, we scored an overall score of 57%. Now, 57% puts us in the category of high vulnerability. We have received comments from Department of Water and Sanitation, who's the custodians of this survey. And at this stage, according to them and according to us, if we are realistic, noting the number of directives, non-compliances, the municipality is exposed. I think it reflects in this self-assessment report. And I think it's important for us to note it. And if the committee agree with it, that we note it. Obviously, this thing gets done annually, so we can actually, in prior years, if going forward with future reports, one can actually map and then see if the municipality regressed or are we actually progressing in terms of our own capabilities of the functions that we are mandated to deliver. I think just the important things to note here, and that stands out, as for one, some of the criteria that's pulling us down is, for instance, criteria number 4, technical staff. Now we know we are understaffed, and we score only 40% there. And this is just for us to gauge what we've completed in the form. Is it reflective of the municipality, and is it a fair assessment? Or do we regard ourselves actually as better performing? We should actually be there should be a low vulnerability, or do we agree we are currently very vulnerable for the various reasons, directives, etc., and as per the 18 criteria that was measured here. So this is just for noting, obviously, steps to pull us out of this high vulnerability will be actions, for instance, that will be workshop come 25 April, and then that plan that we will all commit to pull us out of this high vulnerability status where we're in now and taking us into the green space where we are actually less vulnerable and deliver on our services the way we should be. So this is for noting and for the committee, like I said, to indicate whether we actually agree with this finding on the self-assessment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director. Speaker, Councillor Luzu. Let me start with Councillor Lowe, then Speaker, then Councillor Luzuko.
Thanks, Chairperson. I think that is a very good thing because we have to know where we are. We have to know where we're going. We have to know what we want to achieve. Because I always previously said that we have to have red, orange, and green. So we know precisely we are here in orange or we are in the red, and that is because we are high. But what can we do to get out of red? This is what the step that you have to follow to get out of red. So mine is that that is actually a good thing, because then we know precisely what to do, how to get out of the high risk, and how to deal with the issues that we are facing as a municipality. And also, what support you as officers are needing from us as politicians, because we can be very cruel sometimes, but we don't give you support while you are struggling on the other side, while we have to know precisely. Now we also know precisely where we are, what we have to do also as the politicians that are leading this municipality, to assist you as officials to implement, to get us out of that high risk situation, because that is important, because it's a two-way traffic. This is because we have to work as one structure to get us, the nice municipality, out of where we are. And I can see also here what you have said about the staff. That's one of the components that bring us totally down. How do we address it? Are the different departments are working with each other? Are the users department send their staff to the corporate department to make sure that if there's positions that are being funded, are they being advertised, are they on time, deal with it, so we can get out of the situation we are in, because we can't have a department that is 74% of staff that you are supposed to be at 80% staff, to deal with these issues that we are facing. But I will go with the recommendation that is in front of us, but it's only my input around it. It's only a comment that I will make around it. Thank you.
Thanks. I thought we were going to start with the acting chairman of finance, Luzuk. Chair, mine is in the discussion. There's a bullet that's talked to, let's start about scoring 54, then you get the last one is water, wastewater and environmental safety regulation and compliance, which is 44.4. I'm just wanting to check, sir, because I'm worried this thing of water is an issue. Even this morning when you drove in my ward to the national road, you see, when I think we're all liars here in this municipality. I'm part of that. You just go to people just to TikTok. No, you're part of that, Chief. You're a municipality. We were there. As we spoke now, water is running in the N2. I can take you to Carl Call Director. Maybe you don't know Nekis West, but I must take you there. We were there the last term, even if before I was a councillor. You can go now there. You see this issue of water, you saw how the Deputy Minister addressed it with us and I so hope if you say that you're going to change as times go, it will happen. But lip service, it does not assist Councillor Law. Councillor Law, it does not assist Chief. That's the reason some people who are not educated don't understand when you say there's no water, but they see reality, water is running all over in our areas. And the officials who are educated, sit there, all of them. They will tell you, you're going to go and test this water and check if it's this municipality water or not municipality water. Then they will never come back. But I respect the report in front of us. But Chair, I just wanted to check with the director that this also speak to what the compliance issues which were raised by the Deputy Minister regarding NISA in terms of supporting the issues of water and sanitation. Does this report align to those issues which we were told that let's wait for 25 April, we'll sit and check. Remember, the Deputy Minister was here. So I take it everything that we're going to do now moving forward, it will be in line with what they've picked up with NISNA. That's all I wanted just to check. I might be wrong, but I need guidance. Chair, Finance.
Now, are you sharing my meeting, Speaker?
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I also just want to welcome this assessment. I think it's a very good thing, as Councillor Lowe has mentioned, that for us to know where we're going, we need to understand as to where we currently stand. Just two issues, Chairperson. The Director mentioned that this is a yearly assessment report that's supposed to be done. I just want to understand as to, is it linked to the financial year, or when can we expect it? Is it from July up to June, or is it, we've now received it in April? Is it from May last year up until April, or when is it? Since you said it's an annual thing. My second question is, I see if you look under discussions, there's a lot of, there's financial asset management that's sitting there. You've got management skill level. Is this only, does this report only speak to the directorate itself, or does it include the other directorates? Because I see financial asset management. I think that's sitting with finance or corporate. So those are my two questions, Chair. Thank you.
Let Councillor Vensti, then the director can respond. Councillor Vensti?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. So thank you for this report. I do welcome it, and I am very proud of the transparency and the facts that we have in the report, whilst it's not an easy and a very happy, positive report that we have. But I think my concerns around this report is that if we're looking at the discussion and we're seeing the facts of it, and we look at the relevant legislation around the Water Act, the Constitution, etc., and as we say, water is life. We note this report, but what does concern me, Chairperson, is the facts and the problems that we're facing. For example, the prepaid water meters, the flow, and the water meters that are all on free flow because of the infrastructure assets that are deteriorating. We don't have these reports in our Section 80s. And I have previously requested that we please have a report brought to our Section 80s around how many prepaid water meters are not working, how many are on free flow. We note that it is connected with the technical staff capacity that we have and the lack of staff that we have. But if we have the information and we have the facts and we have the data, we then know how to proceed going forward and which to tackle. So again, Chairperson, I want to request that an item be brought to the Section 80 around the prepaid meters that are faulty, how many households are on free flow, and also we do need to have an update on the where we currently are with the procurement of the 500 smart water meters. So if we can have these items, it will help us to assess and improve the score rating that we have. Thank you, Chairperson.
But I think, yeah. The director?
Thank you, Chair. With regard to the speaker's question, Chair, I've alluded to the workshop that we'll have with the various regulating authorities on 25 April. Now in there, the outflow of that workshop will be an implementation plan to address the directives. Now that implementation plan will identify projects, it will identify various other resources that we as a municipality needs to commit to. And then that report must be submitted to Council end of May, and then Council must resolve on the implementation report. Flowing from that, it's going to take a collective buy-in then from Council to give us the resources that we need if we want to see improvement on our vulnerability index. I think that, in short, is the gist of the report. Will we in future see improvement? And that improvement will depend on the resources that we are receiving. Unfortunately, I cannot preempt it, but hopefully we will see improvement once we start addressing both the directives and general issues related to water and wastewater delivery of the municipality. On the question from the councillor whether it's done annually, the department will prompt us. It's generally towards the end of March, where we will have to go online, their portal, and complete the questionnaire. You will see also a copy of the questionnaire was included in the package as an annexure. And if you go to the questions, you will see our responses. Now, our responses determine what the value will be for the 18 criteria. For instance, the one criteria that we highlight with that is in the red, those are the four that the report generator indicated. Infrastructure asset management, we scored 20%. Now, why do we score 20%? Then you go to that relevant criteria, which is infrastructure, section 10. And then there will be questions there. You have an appropriate and update water and sanitation technical asset register, then the answer is yes, we agree, and example, a basic asset register, etc. You have developed an appropriate infrastructure asset management plan for your water service authority. There, no, we disagree. The next question, you are implementing, we say only 50%. So if we have those plans and we actually implement it as per the recommendations of the plan, these scores will go up, meaning that criteria will improve. Scoring, I think we scored only 20 there. So once we have all those commitments, the score, or the answers improve, and then the score will go up. In other words, we become less vulnerable. And that is the gist of this report. So all the questions are there, and councillors can familiarize themselves also with what the responses were to each of those questions and why we actually scored so low. On the last question of Councillor Vanston, I think one must just maybe separate the issues, the purpose of this report, and then the departmental reports that are submitted on a monthly basis. I think most of those details are reflected in the departmental monthly reports, which we'll get to later. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Can we go with the report?
Yes, Chairperson, we can move.
I think it's the same on 7.4, which is on page 40. The report is on page 41, that the draft revised compulsory national water and sanitation service standards in terms of section 9 of water services be noted.
Yes, Chairperson, because they are going to have engagements, is still going to take place.
7.5, 108. There's a recommendation in 109 that the annual water service development plan, performance and water service audit report be noted, 2023-2024. Director.
Chair, maybe if we can just maybe amend the recommendation. This is a statutory report that must be adopted by council. So maybe if we can amend the recommendation that the annual water services development plan, performance and water services audit be recommended for adoption by council in accordance with section 18 of the Water Services Act. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, yes, Chairperson.
Can you go with the recommendation, Doug?
You see, you know, sometimes, because you also talk about quality of our water things that I read here. You know, sometimes we're getting people in our community, Director. Suddenly they will put on the groups, the water quality and it's not right and people can drink it. But what I can see is we are compliance and our water quality is 90%, 95%. It is intact there. And this is, you know, what we also have to do around these things. It is where we have to inform our communities. It was just in the newsletter that we have, so people can have clearly understanding. I don't say you have to do it, it's just for communication to inform them, because sometimes people have this tendency of making things that are not true, you know, with false information that they are receiving somewhere there in pits under water, you know, now they just want to make it. But I can see what you have put in front of us, but it's important to inform our people through the media that when they complain about the quality of our waters and all these kind of things, that our water has been tested, everything is sorted, and they have the information. It's just a comment that I'm making around it.
Councillor Chokolo, you raise your hand. Okay. Now I know, Councillor Law, you know, I saw someone who put in the water and put potassium crystal, who's for zonke. Now once you put it in the water is going to change the color. Now we are 165, 7.6. report on the operations and maintenance.
Chairperson, sorry, before we move, my hand was up.
Ja, jy sien is omdat jy by die huis is.
Chairperson, can I proceed?
Proceed, Councillor Winston.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just wanted a point of clarity on this report. If we look at page 124, it lists all the villages, and if we have a look at the bottom village, it does say Karatra Achterdorp. Now, I just need clarity on this because in Karatra we have the Boerdorp and we also have Bergvallei. So I need clarity around which one are they referring to of these respective villages, and if it's not Bergvallei, then Bergvallei needs to be included onto this this report and these figures. So if I can please have the clarity, and if we can please make the amendments accordingly, because Bosdorp and Bergvallei should be included.
Chair, I'll lean over to Royden to guide us there. Thank you.
Are you listening, Councillor Winston? Los hy
Yes,
koppie
thank
koffie
you,
daar.
Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Director. Are we talking about page 124? I think it's important that we look at through all the criteria. The first one is urban. The second one, sorry. Yeah. There's different areas. Urban, formal settlement on page 126, formal settlements, townships, informal settlements, and rural. So I'll just make sure that it's not in one of the categories, and then we can add that. I think it's important to see that in different sections, Sedgefield, for instance, is you get the center, it's in different sections, so that I will just make sure that we don't miss that in one of that sections. And that is Bergvallei and Agter Bosdorp. Thank you.
Got it, Winston?
Councillor.
Yes, thank you. I'm covered and noted. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you. Now we are on page 165.
Chairperson,
Yes, Councillor Law.
yes. My question will be, out of this, we are saying we have 89 posts that have been filled. We are supposed to be 170. Out of this 100 that are outstanding, how many are being funded and that are not being advertised and that are not being filled? Because why I'm asking this, because we're coming here and we said 48%, it is the vacant rate is currently at 48%. Now I want to go straight to the bone. How many have been funded that are not advertised? And when will it be advertised? Because you give me a presentation here, so I want to find out about the 100, because you have 89, but you must be 170. 48% is not been filled. Just give me the total number so we can. Because, and why I'm asking this, because this is coming from a very long way. Every time it comes up. So we can know precisely how to deal with it. Because I can't deal with 48%. I want to find out the money being funded for 10 posts. What are the 10 posts? What are the critical 10 posts? Is it been advertised? Is it been submitted from the user department to the corporate department? So we can know precisely where is the hiccup? Waar's die probleem dat dit nie kan gebeur nie?
Director?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this is the departmental report, so I'll ask Royden just to fill in where I may be missing some information. But what I can confirm is that there were 37 jobs that were approved during the recent adjustments budget. 5 of those were for electrical department. So 32 was for Royden's department, of which 16 was general workers. There were 3 artisan plumbers. There were 2 process controllers, 2 process controller assistants, etc. So a total of 32. During last week's presentations with the minister, you would have noticed that if we fill those positions, it should bring down the department. Currently, these figures are not completely aligned to what I presented last week. But if we fill the vacancies, the current ones that's approved in the adjustments budget, we should be bringing our vacancy rate in this department alone to around 25%. I reported 44%, this report says 48%, so it should bring us to around 25% vacancy rate still with water and sanitation. I hope that answers the question. Where we are now in the process, last week some of the jobs were interviewed, the general workers, the artisan plumbers. The process controllers shortlisting was completed, or it continued this week. Those dates for interviews must still be finalized. Then there's those other critical jobs like Royden's senior technician, his technician post, there's the millwright, etc., that we are waiting. I think that will be reported at the corporate services section 80. So those figures, that's what I can report to now. Royden, you can add if there's anything that I may have missed. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair. Councillor, from my side, I think when the organogram was drawn up the previous cycle, it took quite a few things into consideration. Works that was upgraded, for instance, in Nyasa, wastewater treatment works. Shifts were implemented there. You needed to monitor the works now 24 hours a day. The same Sedgefield, 24 hours a day, so we had to make provisions. So that's where we came out to the number of posts. Some of the posts were unfunded at the time. For instance, to make some of the shifts work, where we add these things. And then it also geographically had to deal with certain things. Now, what I've said, there were also then to make things work in terms of all the standards that we need to achieve, a class operator. Some of that people were general workers at the time, and then over time, some of them, completed their studies and things like that. So that had to be dealt with. But the positions were never filled. I always make the example, there were councillors that from 2018 that were working for the municipality. That, at the time, that post from 2018 has never been filled. So the vacancies accumulated over time. Just to say, I don't even want to talk about my, this is not really now also not a true reflections, because we had 2 resignations after that as well, 2 key resignations. I can assure you from every post that we've, or when a person leaves this organization within that month, we usually send the request through to the HR department to fill that position. So from our side, we did our due diligence. Every time we fill in the request for applicant to fill that position, and from there, that is a bit of a problem. But that is it. So from the organogram, we had the positions, and that was approved. And then in that, further on, there was legislative requirements and that positions were never filled. And then we had key resignations, and that posts haven't been filled. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager. Yes, I see the hands. Yes, it is. Hence, I was always saying that – why some of our staff are resigning. and I am repeating it again. Sometimes we are the problem to the staff. I've got standard one. How can I come and talk as I wish to a person who went to university? And I want to tell you in a bad manner. And I was wondering what is happening to it, because everything got stuck at the HR. Everything got stuck at the HR. Paperwork that needs to be done. People who have retired that needs to get their money. The paperwork is stuck there. It was never sent and to the finance department. So hence I am saying that, remember, these workers that were employed by this municipality, they are the voters. When they don't get their things right, they are coming to their councillors whom they voted for to come and speak on their behalf. Then now you will find out that you as a councillor, you can't interfere. It's against the law. But what are you going to do? Why are you going to fold your arms? Hence I am saying that I am pleading to us. My concern is why good people are leaving this municipality. That's my question. What is wrong? What is happening? And I know that some, on the previous ones, you can't just open your mouth and you shout at an official and a director and a manager. Have a manner to speak with them. Even sometimes it is not always about money. The happiness, once you are happy at work, you will feel that you want to work and do your work with pleasure without earning a lot of money, because you feel that you are free. There is nobody is oppressing you. And yet I have mentioned that this thing of when this one have resigned and we don't advertise that, it means that that one manager or director that is there should do 5, 6 people's jobs. And then we are expecting that things will run smoothly. It can't. Remember that, you see Councillor Low, as net mans mense daar. You see, it's net een vrou. They've got families. They've got families at home. They are wives. They need their attention. Nou hier bialeg hier 10 uur. Leader Royen is besig om bold and beautiful te watch met sy vrou. Nou kom ek hier om te interview. Allerlei ding. Councillor Arendse.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to everyone. I see we got water infrastructure and sewer infrastructure. We got 55 water pump stations, and we got 113 sewer stations. I just want to know.
Page
165. How many pumps is per pump station, and how many of them are operational? And then also, is there any, and how many standby pumps is there per pump station? And also, the pumps that are in for repair, what is the status around it? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll hand over to Royden, who can maybe elaborate on that. Maybe just a general comment, as per my presentations last week to the Minister as well. It's been found in general that all our pump stations are fitted only with one duty pump. Standard practice require that we have a duty pump and a standby pump in case your duty pump fails. And then also, standard design dictate that we should have an overflow sump, so that if repairs are required, that overflow sump will have a minimum of 4 to 8 hours storage capacity to execute your repairs. I will have Royden respond on whether we actually do comply to those general norms and standards, and what's the status quo here at Neisner. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair. From my side, Councillor Russell, we are still we are still doing that. The first assessment dealt with, the status of pump station, which is in poor conditions, which is in in different conditions. The second thing is the pumps and where it is. We're still busy with that process. There was a period from round about, not March, from that period that there was no internal capacity dealing with the contracts and dealing effectively with the pumps from internally. So we brought in somebody that could assist us only from September. So he's still busy finding out, and especially in terms of the asset register, what pumps are. So we know quite a few pumps are at the service provider dealing with that. We know that there was quite a few, or a few pumps that have failed, that is broken. In other words, where you get maybe a T10 with the work in the CBD, that there's a lot of silt going in, that a race of action have broken that volutes and things like that. But the idea is also where some of the pumps are broken and things, and especially at the volatile pump stations, we have procured new pumps in terms of the resilience grant, and to deal with some or most of the hotspots. We have dealt with or some of the MCC panels so that we can start the system in dealing with it to get it in place. So I can come back to you, or you can anytime visit me so that we can go through all the detail. But if you need, we will do a full report at the next Section 80, if that is fine.
Councillor Low, then Councillor Chokolo.
Chairperson, that he speak first because he was raising his hand before me.
Hey, you know what day is it today? It's the day of Judas, Wednesday, because tomorrow is going to be the Last Supper. Hey, hey.
Am I on the floor, Chair? Thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, just to start on this one about the pumps, I think the director was not even here at the time when this committee, I think it's been 2 or 3 Section 80 committees, that this committee, and Chair, it must be on you because the recommendations were made by this committee, that a handover report of between SNR and I think Megaflow must be presented to this committee. I think it's been 2 or 3 Section 80 committees that we've been asking for that to happen. We still haven't got that, and we were told in this committee that there should be a report of that when SNR took over, because I think at the time, me as a councillor didn't even know that we've got a new service provider that is called SNR. So that handover report should be able to tell us exactly what happened to some of our pumps. And I think the new MM, when he came, he also had issues with pumps that were procured or that went for service that were not even on the asset register, which SCM didn't know about them. So I think the first step, Chair, we need to have that report. And I think this is your agenda. You should make sure that if this committee asks for a report, you make sure that when you sign off for your agenda, the reports that were asked by the committee should be here. So I think that's where we should start. Because that report, we've been waiting it for, Director, through you, Chair. We've been waiting for it for a long time. I think it's been 2 or 3 committees we've asked for that. Because that report's going to tell us exactly what happened to some of the pumps, which ones are for repairs and stuff like that, and for service. But just to go to the budget, your budget reports, Chair, on page 170, in February we've done an adjustments budget and I see on your, both of them, operating and capital budget, I don't see a column of the adjustments budget where it tells us we're only still talking about the original budget and the spent yet to date. And most of those amounts, I think we saw them in the report that was already issued in December. Same with the capital. I don't see the adjustments as to how much we've adjusted, because I think we need to see those as to what was the original budget, and in February we adjusted these amounts to X amounts. But just on the operational budget, Chair, I do want to know that if you look at water purification, the contracted services, we're sitting at 3%. That was in February. That was at the end of February. So 3% is like we've not spent anything. I would like to know, are we going to see some environments in the near future? Because there's a lot of overspending from the, there's some overspending, and there's also areas where we've not spent a lot. Are we going to see maybe environments? Because if you look at the money that you're still having at contracted services, we've only spent 400,000, and yet we're sitting at an original budget which is it 12 million. I've got 12 million in front of me, but it might be that it was adjusted in the adjustments budget, which means that that's my problem exactly, because now we're only working with what is in front of us. So we don't know when it was adjusted, where we're sitting. So that's why if we had that column of the adjustments that was done in February, we could now exactly know as to exactly what's happening there. So yeah, that's what I want to know, Chair. And going to the capital one, the capital budget, that capital budget that we've got, that's a report up until December. Are we not able, because I mean, we're sitting in April now, are we not able to see or to get a report that, like the previous one, at least the previous one is saying now that was up until February. Why are we still having a report that was produced in December? We are sitting in April. So the information that is in front of us might be an old information. So can we please, Chair, get updated reports, and if there's new information, we should have it here in front of us. Thanks.
That's a Councillor Low, as the Bible said, the pastor is here. He's calling you.
Thanks, Chairperson. I'm glad that we are sitting with this of these road, the main road, Main Street that was supposed to be done. And it come out here that the department have underperformed. And the department has said that the process it is with the supply chain. And now we want to find out with the supply chain, where is the process of this T9 tender that was supposed to go on, but it didn't happen, and now they are going to deal with with the quotation, with the RFQ around it, because the government only will give them the money after they have done it, for them to receive that money. So we just want to find out where does it stop actually, and where does it have a problem to implement the supply process of this tender of the Main Street.
Good morning, council members, chairperson, and the colleagues. I think so that I can be, I've been sent a summary brief of a report from the user department, but what I want clarity so that when I respond, I don't respond out of peripheral. I should be able to give a proper response and direction in relation to that. So can I be just put into confidence in terms of which issues in relation to, because on the screenshot that they gave me, they speak about T9, and the T9, when I look into T9, is more on electrification. And the other one is T29. So, but when I go through the notes as well in terms of the report, it looks like they are talking about asphalt. So I just need the clarity in relation to that so that I can be able to give a proper response, Chairperson.
Councillor Low, are you going to
Yes.
respond?
No, I'm not going to respond. I want them to respond because what it was said here in this meeting, it was said that there's underperformance, and then it was handed over to Sean, and Sean it explained to us about the report that has been drafted in front of us, that where is the problem is in its supply chain because it is very tech for them to implement what is supposed to be implemented.
The ball is in your hands. Councillor Low say he's splitting the beans. Jy het gesê die supply.
No, we are dealing with service deliverings. We're dealing with a road that is supposed to be proper because it's service deliverings. Because when our people drive through the road and they see these potholes, it means people will not coming back. So now we have received money from the government, but we don't implement it. And it was said that here that we have to deal with service deliverings in our communities. It's not about throwing people under the bus. It's about we have to get the facts because things have to happen in the municipality because we are always been seen that we as black people, we can't govern.
Director?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the report indicates T9/2004/2005. I don't know whether that means.
2024, 2025.
Yeah, 2024-25, T9.
Yeah, but what I wanted the clarity on, I read the summary report, and the summary report speaks of the asphalt, speaks of the RFQ, the split, and that's the clarification that I want so that when I respond to, when you refer to T9, are you referring to the tender for your roads maintenance and repair project? Or are you referring to the previous tender that was entered by municipality and those service providers? Because I saw where one service provider was appointed, later on another one withdraw later. And that is the clarity that I want so that I can empower this council in terms of decision making. So if it cannot be clarified, it will be difficult for me to be able to give a proper answer that will assist this council in terms of decision making. So I need to be able to be guided by that. And that clarity is important for me.
For me is that you are correct what you're saying. There was one contractor, it disappeared. Then there was a second one. It didn't do the work. Now they said it's going to the RFQ according to what is in front of us. What we want to find out, we as councillors, because you are the administrators, you have to lead us. We just said that we have to do a job, then we claim 80% of the work that we have done from the province. There was a process that was supposed to happen, and now infrastructure said it is in supply chain for them to deal with it so they can move forward with these RFQ processes. So we want to find out, because we deal with service deliveries, we want to see if things happen in our municipality. We want to see if things happening in our town. This is where our line is. How we get there, it is where the administrators have to say, this is how we get there to finalize this process. And this is the report that is in front of us. So we deal with information that is in front of us. So we only deal with what is in front of us and see how we can deal with it. We already accept the process, but we want to find out why it's stuck. Because it was said, it's stuck. It's supply chain. Now I want to find out why it's stuck in supply chain. Why can't we not move? And I'm very clear when I'm saying this, without your favor.
Director, do you want to respond?
Yes, maybe Sean can just clarify exactly what project is being referred to by T9. Sean?
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Councillors. T9 is a tender for repairs and maintenance of engineering infrastructure, which includes the scope of work that was to be done on the main road. T9 is not a site-specific tender, and so therefore it's not for a specific project. As indicated in the item, we prepared an RFQ, and when we wanted to advertise, duly the scope was included in T9, and so we could not do it because it would be splitting in terms of the MFMA. We're advertising the same scope twice. T9 was then still in evaluation. So there are multiple issues here. So we could not go out to tender because we already advertised the similar scope, which is T9. Then we looked at two contractors that were appointed for the same work. They indicated that they would start the work in December, and both, like the councillor says, both of those contractors withdrew in December and January. So, and that is the reason why we missed it, why we missed the deadline for expenditure of the grant, which was due by the end of December, latest end of January for reporting. So that window is closed. That grant is done, finished. There is no possibility after the end of January to get that grant from the province. It's finished. Province will now allocate the grant to us again, and we'll probably receive the information by the end of the month, which will only be valid for next financial year. So last financial year is finished. It's impossible to recoup. It's done. That tender T9, as far as we have been informed, it's still not been awarded. And so we will be on the back foot again, and we will not be able to spend that grant early in the new financial year from July, because the doors are closed. The scope is out there. You can't duplicate the scope because it would be splitting. So that is where we are. So we will be caught in this vicious cycle. Okay.
Supply?
Okay. Thanks, Chairperson. Thanks for the clarity, Sean. Maybe let me just give one overview so that it becomes an educational thing, so that in future we don't have to go and point fingers in terms of when the work is not being executed accordingly. The services that Sean is referring to, and you'll correct me if maybe I've not heard him very well, is in relation to patch of road repairs and maintenance work. When I joined this municipality, there was a tender that was advertised for roads maintenance and repairs. I think it was advertised for 18 months. The service provider was appointed for 18 months with the condition that they were not allowed to make any price adjustment for that particular services, which when I see the contract being like that, I even said to the user department, but this contract, the way it's being designed, is against the industry requirements, because each and every company, after 12 months, you qualify for your price adjustment. Now, such service providers, most of them could not be able to do the work in relation to that because of their prices were fixed. And when you deal with asphalt costs are more of a fluctuation periods. I advise to say that they should be able to consider the use of the quotation system, because other service providers could not be able to provide that. That is the first one. But let me go to the issue of the tender of the T9, that is for roads, services, and maintenance and repairs. The procurement system is very clear. You are operating in a bid committee system. And bid committee system, it has bid evaluation, bid specification, and bid adjudication. Now, there is the most critical role players into those committees. The most critical role players in those committees are the end user department. SCM don't evaluate bids. It's not a function of the SCM. Now, this tender was advertised long time ago by SCM in terms of the process. It was closed in line with the SCM process. Now, the user department are the participant of the evaluation. Sean, Roy, they are the participant of that evaluation process. And they are not telling this committee what was the delay for that project to be finalized. They are not telling this committee what is the root cause of that tender not to be finalized. Because they are participating on that evaluation process. SCM is not evaluating tenders. It's not sitting in terms of the evaluation of those tenders. That tenders is not even being adjudicated as we speak. And they are not telling this committee why it's not being adjudicated, it's not being finalized in terms of the evaluation. They're saying it's sitting at SCM. But they are the role players in terms of the evaluation. Number one, the specification in terms of that particular tender is incorrect. It's wrong. They are using cubic sometimes in terms of centimeters. It's difficult to adjudicate in terms of the price functionalities. From their side, they are the part of the evaluation. Where Sean himself even said he's not going to participate in terms of the evaluation of that project. Now he can't come here and tell the committee that is an SCM thing. SCM is not evaluating tenders. SCM administers the process in terms of the evaluation. So if I'm the end user, I need this particular project to benefit me as a user department to be able to meet my targets. It's upon me as the end user to make sure that I finance that project, for it to be adjudicated and considerably so. Now it can't be when the work is not being done that is sitting at SCM. SCM provide alternatives after realizing that there is no movement in terms of adjudication of this project. You can go and consider using RFQs because there is no movement in terms of that particular process. We've provided a solution to address the challenge that they are raising. But they are not honest to this committee to say the reason why we could not finalize as the end user, who we are participating in terms of the evaluation, these are the reasons for that process not be finalized. It's an SCM thing. It can't be. SCM don't evaluate. We provide administrative function. The user department, they participate in the evaluation, they see the document, they make sure that the documents are evaluated in terms of the spec, but they should have been honest enough to this committee to say that we as the end user, we are participating, we could not finalize it. It can't say it's an SCM. The project as it stands is sitting there. Sean himself, he wrote to the SCM to say that he can't continue with the evaluation of that process. But we have evidence in terms of correspondence as SCM, requesting committees to avail themselves to finalize the project. Even today is not finalized. And Honorable Chair, I'll print the said emails to your office, because it can't be all the times in SCM. To your office as a proof of evidence where the invitation has been sent to user department and the chairperson of those committees to finalize that project. But SCM can't do it without the end user. That's why the SCM we render administrative function. But if they can't do it from their side as the end user, unfortunately, there's not that we can do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Law. I'm not going to debate on this thing. What am I as the chairperson of the portfolio, I'm going to take this in my office. You know, when we are leaders, you've been given in wisdom of, wait. Councillor Bester, you can't come and tell me, you just come here now. You didn't even apologize of saying that you're going to be late like Councillor Winston. Now you're coming and telling me that what I must do when I'm saying that we're not going to discuss this.
Chair,
That's unfair.
Chair,
No, I'm on the floor.
I'm part of this committee.
Yes, we are part of it, but you didn't report. This thing was started at 9. You are undermining me. You didn't report an excuse and tell me that you are going to be late. Now, when I am saying we should have listened, you send message to who?
To apologize via my colleague.
Then you, via who?
Via my colleague.
Via to Winston?
Yes.
Why you not via me?
Because I couldn't get hold of you.
How could you not get him? No,
Chair,
that's a lie. I don't recognize you.
Chair,
Can we go with
I'm
this
part of
recommendation?
committee.
I
You'll
said
give
to
me a
you,
chance to
you are
speak.
disrespecting me.
Because this
Chairperson.
fucking
You are
town is falling
disrespecting
apart.
me.
Chairperson.
You go to Vincent. Vincent is not the
Chairperson.
chairperson of the portfolio.
You
Just
are-
you are undermining me.
My ward is
Chair-
falling apart.
Chairperson,
I've
Yes,
you are-
but there is my phone. I've got a personal assistant. Councillor Law, what do you want to say?
Chairperson, yes, Chairperson, we only deal what is in front of us as the committee. This report stated very clearly in simple layman's terms The problem was its supply chain. That's what the report said to me. So that's why I have dealt with it like that. When we deal with the reports, we must get all the information in front of us so we can make sober decisions as the committee. It's stated in this report where the problem lies. It's stated. Now that we get a different version of what was supposed to happen. And I am glad. And I want, Chairperson, through you, if we can get that things. Because this report here, it's saying, and we have to make decisions around what is in front of us. And so that's why I was the one that asked that the supply chain must come and explain to us. Without fear or favor. And it was said here. And it's correct. The uses department are responsible for anything happening in the department. If there must be a house being built, if the use department sent to supply chain, they do their work, the use department must follow up to find out where is the process. Why can't this not happen? It's the use department. Even with our payment that is happening, uses department are responsible, then they want to come and play finance. So mine is that, that's why I have asked that we have to get the information that is in front of us. And we receive, and I want the supply chain to send that stuff to the chairperson. We can have it. So we can go on and look into it. Because when a person drives the main road, the first people they will come is to the politicians and said, why is the road like that? Why can't you not upgrade your road? Then we don't have answers. It was said to us in a meeting, no, it is daar by die financiële building that is waar die probleem lê. Now we have to deal with it. But we already accept the recommendation that is in front of us. For me, for us, was only to get what was said here. And I think, Chairperson, you must deal with it. You are the Chairperson. And I don't know if the director is going to respond or one of the managers is going to respond or what.
No, hence I was saying, Councillor Low, when you are a leader, there is a mindset of leadership through your paper, and then there is a mindset of a leadership through your wisdom. Hence I am saying that I'm going to take it up with my office on this report. So I'm not going to open a debate amongst the managers of what, because I am a leader and I know exactly, because I play a role of a motherhood and a role as a leader, because I know I've got the wisdom. Thank you very much.
Chair, I'm not getting an opportunity.
Opportunity, you are undermining me.
So, Chair, as a member of this
Yes,
committee,
you are a
I'm
member
not
of the
getting an
committee, but
opportunity.
what I am saying to you, what you were supposed to do, you were not supposed to interrupt me while I was talking. You come and tell me that you phoned Councillor
You said you're
Venston.
not going to allow us to speak.
Vance, it is not about not allowing you to speak. You undermine me. You can't talk to me.
said
You
that
can't
I'm
send
not
me a
allowed to
message on my phone as your speaker. Venston sent me a message to say that she wants the link. Now you
Chair.
come and tell me you talk to
Chair.
Venston instead of talking to me
Am
as
I
your.
gonna get an
As your.
opportunity to speak
What
in this
opportunity? Not on
committee?
this, we are done on the next one. Thank you. Can we move?
Chair,
Councillor Luzuko?
Chairperson, thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm just worried, Chair, that we are unable to discuss and agree on things in the committee. The Speaker is already frustrated by how council meetings are conducted. Now, if we are going to throttle each other here in Section 80 committees, then Council Yeoman, the Speaker, will have to accept that that is where we're going to take our debates to. Because I think we should have cool heads here and try and get more information as we would like to, so that in council meetings.
What are you referring
we
to,
can-
Councillor Chokolo?
We can resolve.
What are you talking? Are you talking about this, or what are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about you, Chair, not allowing your
No,
members to speak.
no. Let
speak
me
on
just
items.
hold it just right there. You see, I am the portfolio chair of the infrastructure. Councillor Venston sent me a message. I am talking, addressing an issue here. Councillor Bester is telling me no, interrupting me while I'm speaking. He never sent an apology. He told, now you heard, he said, he go and talk to Councillor Venston. Councillor Winston is not the portfolio chair. I'm the portfolio chair. Am I that ugly that he doesn't want to send a message to me of saying that I'm going to be late? Or does he undermining me? He is not going to report to me. Let us not be biased here. Doesn't matter even if I don't want to work with you. But once you are the portfolio chair and you are a leader there, I have to respect you. Even if I don't want to talk to you. Respect come in both sides. He just said that he reported to Councillor Winston. I've got a voice note here. Councillor Winston never mentioned, and he was not going to mention as if he's sick. He's got my phone and he's got my personal assistants. He should have sent an email if he doesn't want to talk to me and said that I'm going to be late. Now he come and interrupt me when I'm talking, say that I'm not going to do it. No, it doesn't work like that. Not Kumu Madlomone. You respect me as a portfolio chair, whether you like it or you speak to your party that you don't want to be part of that portfolio, you don't want to serve there.
Out of order. Okay, I have sent a message.
To who? But you must lie.
Asked because I couldn't get hold of you.
How could you not get hold of me?
Because your phone was dead.
No, never. My phone is never dead. My phone. There's my director. He even asked me the other day, do you say my phone is never dead?
Regardless of
Regardless of what? There's no even a missed call.
You didn't receive my apology.
No.
Now I don't have a say in this.
No, but now you are lying. Now we are lying in front of this committee, in front of everybody, saying that my phone was dead. My phone was never dead. Just accept that you are not recognizing me as the chair. You are disrespecting me. You are disrespecting me. Now you come and lie here. I'm not going to be jeopardized by you. I am the portfolio chair here. All these people that are serving here, they are saying to me that, sorry, I'm not going to make it. Now you come and say my phone was dead. My phone is always in a charger. My phone is never, not a single day, because I am a leader. I'm a councillor. I'm a leader of the party. My phone has to be charged 24/7. Make another excuse instead of going down and say, I apologize, councillor. Now you are coming now and saying that something else here. Councillor Winston should have raised her hands and say that you did send it to her. But she is not the chairperson. I'm the chairperson. Whether you like it or not, or you must go to your party and tell your party you don't want to be in this portfolio because you don't like that chairperson. That's what you should do. We didn't force you to be part of this. Chini Chiko, can we go with the recommendation? Councillor Winston, are you still there? Councillor Winston?
Yes, Councillor Charlie, I am here.
Thank you.
I am here, Councillor Charlie.
Thank you very much. Now we are 165, page 7.7. Page 165. No, we went there. We are now on page 172. 171.
No. Chairperson, I raised some questions and remarks. Remember when you started dealing with the items, we were already busy with an item. I think it was water, the water and sewer, the operations report. 7.6. We have not finalized that item.
Peter Kaparis.
Page 1, it starts from page 165.
Yes.
I asked questions on the budget.
Okay, about that 3% of water that was, okay, Director or?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'll hand over to Royden to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair. From my side, on page 170, as you all know, it was in February, so this is before the adjustment budget, but in the next section 80 that will be done. But I can assure you, Councillor, I will look you in the face and say we are busy with violence and dealing with that to, how can I say, use the small bits of money and things like that to deal with. We had to cut quite a few millions. I think if you know our budgets, Some of the expenditure is straight line. In other words, month per month, we will spend the same, say, for instance, higher charges. So therefore, you know, at a certain stage, it would have been half until the end of the year. But nevertheless, we've cut a lot of the budget, and yeah, we will reflect that in the next cycle of Section 80, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're on page 172, electrical and mechanical services, NICE municipality fleet from January to February 2025. The recommendation. Any bite? Councillor Arons? Let's wait for, where's Councillor Low? Kayo Jongu Low pa? Yeah, let's take a 5 minutes break, 10 minutes break, yeah. Councillor Winston?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. Then we are a quorum. We proceed. We are on 172, whereby the recommendation is in page 201. That the report on the electrical and mechanical services for the Niger municipality fleet from January to February 2025 be noted.
Yes, Chairperson. No, we noted, you can still speak. Chairperson is here. Oh, you can't come and say to our committee, Councillor. Speakers will deal with you.
Councillor Kay?
Thanks, Chairperson. Where's my phone? Chairperson, if I go through the report, it says we have a total of 288 fleet. I remember last time, so many Section 8 I've missed. We said we must do a spreadsheet to say what of these fleet items are operational. What do we have? I see there is a type of craft that is made with red, orange, and green. I see almost 170 approximately fleet are in orange. Is that fleet operational, or is that fleet, that 170 fleet that is in red, is it operational, or is all of that fleet in the repairs in George? Or is it standing at the stores? Because if I count, we only have 36 in orange and we have 38 in green. So it means approximately more than half of our fleet is in red. So we just want to know if all of that are in repairs. I see they are stating it's old, but if it's in repairs or it's standing at the stores, or can we sell it, or what is the way forward? Thank you, Chair.
Councillor White?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I had a similar question to the Councillor Andrews in relation to the fleet, but I also wanted to understand how driver behavior impacts on the state of the fleet and where the fleet currently is. And then secondly, Chair, I'm disappointed that the report does not speak to electrical services, but only to mechanical services. I wanted to, maybe the director will have an update. I did speak previously to the acting manager for electrical services on the level of service that we are currently delivering in terms of repairing of streetlights specifically, and also the replacement of the electrical meters. I don't see SCME. I do understand that it is a supply chain issue at the moment in terms of procurement for the new meters. So I just wanted an update on that, because a number of meters that were replaced during the update period, or at least we couldn't replace some of those meters, so there's a whole bunch still outstanding that needs to be replaced. And in the interim, those meters have been bypassed. So I also just needed to understand how we will be billing those residents to recover the revenue for those meters that have been bypassed until we are able to replace those electrical meters. And then also just an update in terms of the repairs for streetlights, because currently we, or the department, do not comply to the service standards as set out in the customer service charter. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Director?
Chair, thank you. Chair, I believe the item under discussion is the vehicles. Electrical mechanical fleet. I noticed from the councillor there may have been questions not related to this item. I think we've already dealt with the streets and stormwater. I can give feedback on electrical meters, but that there's an item for the electrical department's monthly progress report, and maybe we can tackle those issues there if that's in order. Insofar, Councillor Kay's questions, with regards to the assessments, the red, the orange, the green, the only thing that denotes is the conditional assessment. So the red is really vehicles in our fleet that's in use, but it's really at a state that requires replacement, and that's what this table in legend stands for. The orange means it's still in okay condition, it's not yet critical, and then the green, those are all our vehicles that are in good condition. So on table 4, page 200, you will notice that that is all the vehicles that are currently in for repairs, and you will see for the water and sewer department, we need a total of 1.1 million to get those vehicles back. Fire and rescue, et cetera, to the total tune of about 5.8 million rand for vehicles that are currently in repairs. I hope that clarifies that question, Councillor. Thank you.
Are you satisfied, Councillor Jason and Councillor Kay? Councillor Arendse?
Thank you, Chair. Only one question. The vacuum truck, under what cover does it fall? Because that
Sean will respond, thanks.
Councillor, the vacuum truck in general is falls in the orange. The truck component, the vehicle, is still all right. Then there is, so the vacuum tank has got two engines. It's got the engine that powers the truck, and it's got a separate engine at the back that powers the vacuum unit. The problems usually is with the vacuum unit's engine. And that is why the truck has been broken for a long time. The truck is not broken. The engine is broken of the vacuum unit. And so the engine of the vacuum unit is in red, because that truck is now 18 years old. If I'm 16, they're about 16 to 18 years old. That's how old that truck is. And I think we are on the second engine now of the vacuum unit. So, yeah, that is why we need so much money. Look, that thing works 24/7, 365. It never stops.
Thank you. We've already noted the report. Now we are on Councillor Chokolo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, no, just on this report, Chair, I didn't see the driver behavioral report. Normally we get it here as to which incidents happened, if I'm mistaken, or am I now going to corporate? Just not sure. But the second question, Chair, is on the fuel consumption costs on page 201. I think in this committee we've requested a long time ago that can we have the fuel consumption cost for, because I understand we've got generators that use fuel as well, and we've requested that can we have that separated from the actual vehicle consumption cost? I do know at some point it was done, I think once in that report, but I see it looks like we've gone back to whereby it's combined again, because I don't see any line that talks to the fuel consumption of our generators, if we're still using any fuel on our generators. Thanks, Chair.
The request is noted, Councillor. I'll take it up with the Fleet Management Officer for future reporting purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Page 202, report of the roads, transport and stormwater, buildings.
No, Chairperson, did we note the report?
Yes, we did note it. You said we noted the report before they come and ask the questions. Now we're on page 202.
Chairperson, thanks, man. I just want to go to 203, gravel roads. Is this 14% that you have dealt with the gravel roads? Because I see a high vacancy rate, no gravel superintendent, no grader operator, delays in supplier payments. This, Chairperson, we need to upgrade our gravel roads. My thing is that a grader operator, it is for me to deal with it. It is critical. It's critical. Now we have acting in that position. I just want to find out how long are people acting now in that positions. Then I want to go to my next question around it.
Director.
Thank you, Chair. I'll hand over to Sean. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairperson. In terms of acting in general, I can answer like that. Maybe if I can start.
Chairperson,
Gravel roads.
I don't want you to answer in general. I want you that there's a vacant position. Yes. How long are they acting in their positions, and for how long has that position been vacant?
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. In terms of the positions for superintendents and senior superintendents for gravel roads, they have always been vacant. There has never been any incumbents in those positions and funded vacancies since the organogram of 2018. There has never been anyone acting in that post. What we're doing is Russell is doing additional work, free of charge. So between Russell and Raymond in my department, we are running that contract. The grader operator has been vacant now for more than 2 years. The small grader, no one.
Yes, friends, my next question will be, is there someone that is doing that work? You don't have to give names. It's for 2 years vacant, the grader operator. Superintendent is always vacant. My other question is that position being funded? If it's in the organogram, is it being funded? Because I want to go somewhere.
Chairperson, as I said, Russell has been doing the work of that superintendent gravel roads as additional duties. Between him and Raymond, we've been running that. Since the grader operator, previous grader operator, retired from the post, we had from time to time a senior driver operating the grader. When he left, no one was acting in that. In fact, for a lot of time, that grader's also been broken, and the grader's now been standing for more than a year because we don't have an operator. In 2023, we had a contract worker that was appointed 2024 for 12 months. And when his contract came to an end, there was no operator. So we are outsourcing that function. We are renting a grader now. And we're doing it since the beginning of this financial year. Or not, it was funded in this financial year. So we started around about November. So our machines are standing because we don't have operators. We are renting machines in. We don't have a senior superintendent. We don't have a superintendent in that post. Russell is doing that work. We've got a foreman, we've got a supervisor that supervises the work. But the work of a superintendent and work of a senior superintendent and the work of a supervisor It's at different levels. My expectations of those posts is different, and that's why Russell is doing it. And it's not other people. Even people think they're doing it, they are not doing it. They are there, they're supervising the machines, but that is about it. They're not at superintendent's level. So that is where we are. The last question you asked was whether it's funded or not. Senior Superintendent gravel roads funded this financial year, cut in the adjustment budget. Last year, funded, cut in the adjustment budget. Superintendent, year before that, cut in the adjustment budget. So we fund them. Funding is then delayed. Remember, funding is not 12 months. And it always falls here by adjustment budget when posts are frozen, then I get cut. It's always been like that for 4 years in a row.
Hello, the last bite.
No, you know, Chairperson, like the speaker said, this is where we're going to deal with it because we can't go to the council meeting and deal with it. 4 years, funded, cut, and we have to address with it because we can't have funded posts, and nothing happened. Now we have to outsource to a service provider. While our stuff, our things, are standing our plants. As also, so you verby die glas, winkels loop, sien jy moeilijke poppe haso. Dit is wat gebeur. My next question will be, is it being communicated to corporate department, HR, to deal with it, so they can advertise their positions? Because I can go there. Because we can't have a situation like, and if we are saying it's standing there, now we outsource it. Kost het nie ons meer geld as ons het kost het nie meer geld as ons het outsource as wat ons het innet nie. Gaan ons dit nie meer geld kos nie? En dit is 'n baie straightforward vraag. Dis hoekom ek sê dat die goed wat ons moet doen, iewers haak het somewhere. Because nou moet ons die grader laat staan daar so, ons lyk wonderlik, en nou moet ons uitsource vir iemand wat ons kan ingekry het, geadverteer het, pos gevul het, en iemand doen die job vir ons. Nou, Russell heeft toe hardloop twee kanten nou. Sy actually werk wat hy moet doen, die kan hy nie nou regtig focus op, because hy moet nou 'n ander job ook nou hardloop. En hy is maar net 'n mens. So chairperson, really, ons kan nie, dit wat ons moet doen, uitsource nie. So daai goed moet aangekyk word, direkte. En die team meetings, ons moet dit adres, sodat ons goed kan, as daar funding pool is vir dit, dan moet ons geadverteer word, sodat ons die mense kan kry om werk te kan doen vir ons. Dan kan ons maar net so, ja, ken sit daar by die, ons kry service providers en ons doen, hulle doen die job vir ons en ons sit daar so.
Thank you, Councillor Low. My fear, yeah, I'll give to you now. My fear is, you see, that's where my pain comes in. There's somebody who was doing this job. Now we are going now to advertise it. And somebody is going now to get paid, whereby that person was doing this job and was not getting paid the salary of doing that job for years. Let me make an example. Most of the people who are working at Naiza municipality, they are coming from Tizen. They were operators and et cetera, at Tizen. And they come and work in the municipality. Although in those times in Tizen, you never needed qualifications. You were operator, you were driver, whatever you were. Then things changed. But Jens, I am saying that, don't we have a policy in this municipality whereby we can promote our own people than go and advertise, and somebody from outside will come and get that post whereby we've been using that poor man, that poor woman doing that job just because now that one doesn't have the level Q what and whatsoever. I know that the directors and the managers, they don't have that power. There are some things that Councillor Law, we, as the coalition that is in power with the mayor, we need to implement our own policies so that our managers and our directors can do job. The job will be easy for them. Because really you are not going to feel good whereby you are the one who've been painting here and it was not your job because you don't qualify. Then we go and advertise and then we get somebody who said that now this one qualified, he's got papers and so on. So that's all that I want to raise, that I think it's about time so that we can show how we appreciate our people that has been serving us in this municipality. Councillor Arendse?
Thank you, Chair. On page 205, but on 206, storeman. What store is this where the storeman is working? Because I see number of storemen is 1, then they say filled 0. So there's a vacant there. What store is that? Page 206.
It's funded, man. That's okay.
Can I?
If it's funded, is it there?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's already been filled.
It's not been filled. It's vacant.
Storming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor. All of our departments have what is referred to sometimes as a sub-store. So in the main store, you have all of the bulk, large quantities. But you need a place to store materials and tools and things in smaller quantities. And that is what that storeman, that's what that storeman's job is to control the materials once they are in the sub-store. Because each team has to purchase or rent that tool, that equipment, that material out of my store so that they can be accountable for it. Our tools is also in that store. So each tool, so my tools belong to my department. It's not nice the municipality's tools. Because they bought with my budget. They are kept in the stores and they need to be recorded and they need to be managed in and out of the facility. And that is what that person is for. Also, large quantities of materials stored in my yard. When they move in and out of the yard, who took them, how much, what was it for, and that is what that person's job is to reconcile those kinds of things.
Thank you, Chairperson. I didn't want to speak on this report, but firstly, I want to thank the department for assisting when I had an emergency in my ward this weekend with a funeral and some potholes. So I want to thank them for assistance, Chair, that they did tap in and the community is happy. But I also, in the same breath, I want to tell the department it's no need that we need to act on emergency. If the department will stick to their report or their monthly report or their maintenance report, there's no need for us to call them in emergency times. It's been over a year I've been struggling with stormwater cleaning with the department. It's over a year I've been complaining of potholes. And I know the manager told me the last time when I know it was my turn for stormwater cleaning, and when I phoned when there was an emergency in my ward and people started blocking the road, he said, but other councillors changed his maintenance report, so the maintenance report didn't flow as it was supposed to flow and the time it was supposed to be in my ward. So I know sometimes councillors also interfere, but councillors will only interfere when it's emergency. But I also want the department to fulfill their maintenance report at the same time. Because It's now more than a year. I haven't had one stormwater cleaned in my ward. And I also have that old Bigai stormwater drains. I had to call the department to clean for a funeral. So these days I can only depend on the department when there is an emergency in my ward. Because nothing of the maintenance report that is sending through to us reflects or it happens, because it doesn't happen at this stage. But me and the director have spoken, me and the manager have spoken about the Vrydag area. There is a lot of potholes. And I want to ask the department to really look into that area. I know what the manager told us because he operates from the collab system. But most of us as councillors, we can't sit in meetings like this. I get about 10 to 20 WhatsApps to one department a day, and I can't go on a collab system to collab stuff. So I will just forward the message to Yamari or to Shane. They must collab it for us because we don't have time to go on collab. The other thing, Chairperson, what I want to mention is that the department also are aware that we are, especially in my ward, we are on a severe attack of vandalism. The other thing that is bothering us is the stormwater lids that have been stolen in Honley on a daily basis. Me and Councillor Arends, I think it was about 2 months ago, we found 2 lids at the St. James Church, just lying there. Taken out and it's lying there. I think the people were caught and they had to run, so we found it there and we took it to the department. We went and dropped it there. But from the St. James Church, Struble Street, Shamrock Street, even the main street in Only, all that lids are out. It's out. Since last year, we've been putting in complaints about the stormwater lids that are taken out. I think that what we heard what the people do is they take it out, they break it, and they take it to the scrapyard places. So they first break it, then they take it there, because the scrapyard metal won't take it as a whole lid. So they have to break it, and then the scrap metal companies will take it in. I know Yamari have sent me numerous messages to say that we don't have new lids in store. But we are also going to sit with a time bomb because our main road in Only, they are taking out the lids there and people are going to sue us or claim from us for tire burst and damages to their cars. So we must duly look into this matter. We have taxis operating in that main roads. We have a huge area that's without that lids everywhere. Or we first going to see a child from Vrydag school fall into one of that lids, break the legs or die, and then we're going to act on this matter. The matter of these lids needs to be attended to as a serious matter. We have children coming from Vrydag Primary School during the day, and that stuff is open. And we are going to act when someone is getting hurt first. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Councillor Kay. You know, I don't know how we are going to deal with this vandalism that is taking place in our communities. It is our own people that is destroying, and everything costs money. We don't have a firm whereby we know that now we are making like bricks, and these municipalities got a firm of making retaining walls, and those lead. Yes, our own people, I don't know how we are going to address it and telling them. The more we are repairing on something that we have already built, it affects other service delivery. It affects other service delivery. In Ward 3, when we had the neighborhood watch, I was a member of them. We've been looking at the people that were starting to vandalize and start to steal when these RDP houses were built. We hanged them, there was a container there, hang them and beat them with some bok. So, because they are destroying our own project. Now these destroyers, they are going to continue no matter when we are going to put those leads. We need to come up with something. I remember when I started to becoming the portfolio chair, that Tembi took me into what level down there, a big lot. They pick it up, they pull it up. In lots of these places, in Ward 8 is the same, in Ward 7. This is what they are doing. So now we need to come up now with something, because to replace every time they took, it is not gonna take us anywhere. And it is true, because some of the other children, 6, 5 years, they will fall in there. Then we as the municipality, we are in trouble. But it is not the municipality that is destroying, it is our own communities that is destroying all these things. So, in the other stuff that you spoke about, I think that I am going to, about the stormwater. I remember, Councillor K, recently there was a contractor that was given a tender in Ward 3. The same politician people they stopped it. So our own people, they are the ones who want to come and control the municipality, what to do, but they are the ones who will come and complain. The last time I checked that they stopped and that person stopped, and you remember, once the community have stopped it, and that guy is not going to bring that money to the municipality. He went there and do the job, and it's the community who interrupted him. So it is, I don't know how we are going to deal with these things, but it is how it is, and it makes very difficult for the ward councillors, because the people think that the ward councillors are doing nothing. They are just sitting there, not saying anything. But it is noted. Thank you. Can we go with the recommendation in page 207? Thanks. We are on. Yes. Looking for the recommendation. If we go through on that, anybody? There's a recommendation. Can we go? Julle is nog nie daar nie. Wednesday, there's a recommendation in 233.
Yes,
That-
Chairperson.
That the project progress report to the period of January be noted. Is on Councillor K?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I see most of these projects has time frames, and I know there's a company working in Ward 6 and Ward 11 doing the works there. We don't see, especially, I know there is about 3 or 4 streets for my ward, and I think the company had only 6 months, and they only, I think they only started this year, really were doing serious jobs, but most of the time the company is not on site. I think most of the time they are on Councillor Arend's site, but the street with the bigger issue is Hederdale Street, and you don't actually see any progress at Hederdale. I want to know if the company needs to end his term now in April. What is the way forward? What is the way forward going to be now?
Councillor Luzuko?
Thank you, Chairperson. My question is just on page 216, the stormwater maintenance in Ward 3. Page 216. I see there's nothing. The status doesn't say anything. And I also just to elaborate on that, the water or the sewage that's running at Nekis over to the N2, is that part of that maintenance plan?
So, sorry, Chair, I think I'm just by scrolling to the report. I see there is a report that says guardrail Ward 6 contractor 106260 completed. If I can get a report, where's the locations that that guardrail was been put on? Because most of the time we tell the managers to inform ward councillors where contractors will work. And if we don't know, we will be lost and we will ask questions in here. So just to get a location or photos of where these guardrails was put up. Thank you, Chairperson.
Arendse, then we give hand over to the directors and the managers.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to take the opportunity and thank the Department Infrastructure for all the work being done in my ward, especially with the upgrading of the water network and also the roads. It look much better. Thank you.
Thank you. Can the department answer?
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, apologies. I was just paging through the document. As alluded to earlier, Pumi unfortunately had to attend to an urgent BEC meeting, but Brian is with me just to fill in where I may have missed something. I think the first project, Councillor K, I will hand over to Brian, the Heatherdale Street. And then on the second one, the stormwater on page 216, Councillor Chokolo, and the Nekkies water. Maybe I'll give Brian or Royden maybe just to comment on the Nekkies water, because I don't think it's a project listed here that you're referring to. It's just a general question. Then the guardrails, I will also give to Brian. I think if we go to page 213, the wards are indicated there and where those guardrails have been implemented. But for more detail, I'll first give to Brian, and then on the water one for Nekkies, I'll hand over to Royden, maybe who would be able to assist where that water is emanating from and the plans there. Thank you.
Good morning, all. Director, thank you, Chair, through you. The first question in regards to the Ward 6 to Ward 11 internal only streets roads projects. We've got two contractors on site. Ward 11, we've got the start time trading through T70 of 22-23. And then on Ward 6, which deals with Heatherdale, we've got the T39 of 23-24. That's the ZKS projects. They were supposed to be done according to completion date, 2nd of April. We are busy employing penalties now through that project due to cash flow issues from their side. I hate to hear out the councillor. And then the guardrails, councillor, I'm shocked that you asked that question. You were the one that requested it. Vrijdag school. No, Vrijdag only. High secondary school. Okay. Yeah, thanks. 216. Oh, Tolom. Yes, the stormwater, that was in, I think it was Ward 3 somewhere. That was minor stormwater maintenance, where we had an issue down at, what's it now? Kalkol. Yeah. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Brian, for relieving my memory. It was because it was in the beginning of the financial year. That's but thank you. Yeah, you reminded me now where that guardrail was. Also, thank you, Brian, for I see the other thing I wanted to ask a question was on the water relief tank in Ward 6. Thank you. I saw you put up 2 tanks, but now I sent a message through yesterday to the complaint line. The residents say that there are coming worms out of their tanks now. So they've asked Shane Mob to intervene to see what we can use for their tankers. But I think one of the tanks can be removed. I don't think that the resident will need 2 tanks at this stage. I think we can remove one of the tanks because it looks like the tanks are becoming wormy now, because what Shane told me last night was the water is standing too long in the things, and he thinks that's why it's like that. So just look into that matter, but thank you.
I'm under Wat noem jy unochubalala? You don't know chubalala taka Paris. Not chubalala. You know, wanneer is the rainwater? Then you've got those small things. Councillor Low?
Chairperson, I see here you have the guardrails, the line is completed. And Mr. Janssens have done it. If you go and check where that guardrails is, now you laugh, Councillor. If you go and check where that guardrails is, that guardrails is on the, I don't know, is it this one's on the top, they're on the top with the road going up, and this on the top, then the road going down like this. The guardrails is actually supposed to be, I'm not an engineer. I just use my common sense. You are on the hill of the road, then you're going down. Down. You're going straight down. At the corner, there's a house down. The roof of that house in the road is level. But there's no guardrails there. Jy sien hy pad, Brian. Sien jy die guardrail is so jy opkom, het Janssens die guardrail opgesit. No, I don't know if it's the same guardrail that we talk about here.
Councillor, the location identified by the ward councillor then, there's two sections on that road. One is you come down and then there's a cut-in. What happened was that the whole section was supposed to be done, but the residents informed us they're going to buy cars and they don't want these guardrails there. So we did what was more practical then with the budget which we had and what was requested from them. If we had more budget, we would have done it, but they would have taken it off, that section.
Why I raise it? I was having a meeting in Slalani with my oral on, my red oral. And then we would even have a side visit there. And they said, but how can you put a guardrail here while the guardrail is supposed to be? Because it's more danger when you drive down, take the corner, and there's about 3-4 houses. In the house, roof is level with the road, but there's no guardrail there. And we talked to them. They said, no, they have put it here, the municipality. But now you give me a different version of what they want. So now I can go back and say, but you have said it must be here. Instead of using that and put it there, because we see this is the danger area. So now I'm fine with the explanation that you give me.
No, Councillor, I think it's noted, it's like the add-on is that if with all the requests coming through, there would be no more space left for guardrails. So we do what practically is possible.
I understand what you are saying. I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying that the practical point for me as an engineer, if I was an engineer, you look where the danger is. As je op je kop staan en je komt af, straight af zo, en je vat die draai. That is waar je die guardrails sit. Because that is waar die danger is. Because die kar afkomt. En hij gaat en dan kan hij die guardrail kan hem keren. Maar hij is op je kop gezet. So je opkomt. Because hij pad komt op. Dan gaat één pad zo op. Naar die second phase 5 toe. En dan komt het pad daar af. Om in Nutsje te komen. Dat is waar hij actually moet wezen. Maar als jij ziet die mensen. Je hebt gezegd, hulle het dit vir ons gesê. Hulle het vir ons 'n different story het hulle vir ons gespin. En hulle gesê, look what you have engineers have done. They come and put the guardrails here. Was not supposed. Maar as goeie sê vir my, because next time when I go back, I say, no, you want it here. And that is why we have put it here.
Thank you. You know, the name calls means Tlalani, say blij, whereby the municipality had said that is a tip, it's a tip. But the name called Tlalani, it means that they force and tell the people, stay. Yeah. So, can we go?
Yes, we
with
can
the
go. There's one thing that I want to, it's about the Bongani sport field. I know that you are in the process of dealing with it. The process is, and I still say it, and I say it many times in my meeting when we're having this fight of the department, they have to take money back and we have to, you know, all these things. I always said, a grass field is a 6 months process. It will be a 6 months process. Director. Then we have spent 10 million rand. That fund that we receive. It's only 6 months. It's gonna, and then we are back to square one. Dis mos jy sien wat hulle 2010 nagemaak het. 2010 hulle het die see gebring na ons mense doen. And when we was dealing with this, I always said, we put another 3 million rand, then we deal with the artificial grass, artificial field. Because I can say, because we want the tennis court, and all this, you know, the tennis court, the netball court, and all that. A grass field will cost us more maintenance than we are going to experience. Because I can say to you now, that area, there are about 4 to 5 soccer teams that will practice there. Now you are going to get another 2 or 1 rugby club that will practice there. That only practice. They didn't play. They're not going to play. Only practice. I can assure you now, when they plant the grass, 2 months after that, they want to play on the field. Then we are back to square one. My debate was here. Why not artificial? Because artificial can have us for about 30 years. If you just proper maintain. Look there at George. They're still using it. And it's now nearly 15 years they are still using it there at Sun Crown. This one that we have, Sedgefield one, it's going to help us. Because the impact of people practicing there is not going to help us. As ons die veld oorgee, director en die managers, ons gaan volgende jaar terugkom en soek ons weer gras. Dit is wat gebeur. Ek het hier saam met die PMU, saam met PMU, het gaan debate oor dit. But now it's fine. I just want to find out how far is that process? When are they really going to be complete with that process?
Councillor, just Chair through you, I think Pumi already elaborated in terms of the historic issue in terms of the funding for the Bongani one. The original total project cost was about 26 million. It was Department of Sport and Recreation then revamped the norms and standards in terms of funding. So they only made available 10 million per municipality. Out of that 26 million project cost, we had to cut non-core items totally out of the project costs. And one of the items was the artificial grass, which they do not fund anymore. Non-sports fields or sports projects in this country, they do not fund it anymore in terms of artificial grass. That was the issue in terms of that. In terms of the current status, we are in the process of dealing with a contractor. I've got Department of Sports and Education currently waiting for me at the mall. So when we're done here, we're going to go and have a site visit again.
Can we move with the recommendation? Now, can we move with the recommendation?
Yes, Councillor.
Thank you. Now we're on page 236. That the report on the MOU between Neisner, Teasen Island, recommendation is on 237.
Can the director take us through? Because I'm very skeptic about memorandum of understandings. Myself. I want
Can
you to
the
take us-
director go through because you said you want to leave at 12?
Chair, can we please just excuse Brian? He's got a meeting actually with the Department of Sport and Arts and Culture, DKS. Thank you, Chair. So this report, Chair, or the request rather from the Teasen Island Homeowners Association was brought to my attention shortly after I started here. And apparently this application has been coming on since last year. You will see on the attachments, last year there was an MOU undertaken for the Teessens Islands Homeowners Association to replace the circuit breaker feeding Teessens Island. However, we noticed that that MOU was valid for only 1 month, start of March 2024 till end of March 2024. Now that's about a year before I started, and my question was, why was this MOU then never implemented? And the agent acting on behalf of the Teessens Island Homeowners Association couldn't give us a firm response. All they cited was that this was done under the previous manager, senior manager at Electrical Services that left the employee of the municipality shortly after concluding this MOU, and they were unsure. And then in the meantime, there were various actors, and they were, like they say, between a rock and a hard place and didn't know where to go and how to proceed. So after Mpumi started acting between myself and him, we interrogated the application because they asked whether they can revive this MOU or whether it's still valid. And at that stage, obviously, we couldn't determine because we were not party to this MOU. However, it has been brought to our attention that there are discussions between various entities under one big umbrella of the Greater Knysna Business Chambers. And you will see in our recommendations as that the report or the MOU dated March 2024 to end of March 2024, that it be noted. But then secondly, we recommend that this MOU be denied until such time a formal MOU is established with the Greater Knysna Business Chambers, and let that process then dictates to what extent one can enter an MOU with a private entity. You will notice in the meat of the report, the background and the financial implications. Having a secondary party work on municipal infrastructure is not advisable. The municipality is the license holder, and then if works are executed on behalf of the municipality, there should have been prior engagement with the municipality. You will notice that the Homeowners Association already went ahead of the process and they procured the services of service providers, etc., which would be against our requirements, our MFMA requirements that require a competitive process when works are being put out on tender and when we work on our infrastructure. So there are legal implications in terms of the MFMA and procurement procedures that we saw as potential flags, and that we should not be hasty in entering into an MOU which may come back and haunt us. However, it must be recognized that the infrastructure requires replacement, and we should allow internally to be able to do routine maintenance, replacement of critical infrastructures internally. And hence, again, the fact that we advise not to proceed or not to accept and rather deny this MOU until there's a formal arrangement where these types of transactions may occur or may not occur under the Greater Knysna Business Chambers MOU that are in process of being evaluated and concluded between the municipality, and that dictates certain administrative processes to be followed as well. I will pause there, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Tsokolo and then Councillor Low.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thanks, Director, for explaining that. I just want to understand, because the report itself says there is an MOU in place already which was signed in March 2024. Now, the item speaks to an MOU that needs to be denied. Is that a new one, or is that coming from, is it a new one, or is it a renewal of that one? Because in the report it says that there is an MOU. In the report itself, it looks like the municipality is not happy about that MOU. So now I'm a bit confused here because the recommendations are saying we should actually deny the MOU. So if I can just get clarity on that, Chairperson, thanks.
Councillor Low, you also want to raise yours so that the director can
No,
just answer
mine is, Director, you are very clear because you can't create another Oranje here. And I'm with you because we have to understand the issue of the financial implications, who's going to deal with what, because how they're operating. They operate, they have their own service providers. They appoint them, and then after that, then the municipality must pay for it. That's how most of them are operating. And how you explain it to us, you are very clear. We have to look into it, because we don't want to go into a trap tomorrow, then we are bound by the trap. But my question is, that the MOU be denied, on that one I accept, until a formal MOU is concluded with the Greater Neisner. Why Greater Neisner? Why not other entities?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe just on the first question, the MOU that we see is the MOU. There's only one MOU, Councillor, but that MOU expired by virtue of the validity was only for 1 month. And as I explained, the service or the Homeowners Association through their agent came back to us and asked us to revive and we can't go back, unfortunately. Then secondly, Councillor Lowe, why Greater Neisner Business Chambers? Because there's currently a process with them. And that's the only reason I have. That's why I say there's the Greater Neisner Business Chambers that approach the municipality, and there's an administrative process unfolding, which at some point will reach council, and hence we bring it in here. It's just administratively we know of them. I know not of any other umbrella MOU that is in existence or in the process of being called into existence. That's the only reason, Councillor Lowe.
No, I'm fine with that, but the wording, man, sorry, man, Chairperson.
Come, because you said, you look at the time. Come, Councillor Low.
No,
Yeah,
no.
let the director finalize.
Maybe to give direction, Chairperson, Councillor Lowe, this is because of our inherent administrative knowledge of what is currently in the pipeline. There's nothing prohibiting the committee to take that out and just stick with the denial of the MOU or any other recommendation you deem appropriate. As I said, this is administratively because we have that background. But yeah, I'll leave it up to you, Chair, to if you want to change the recommendations. Thank you.
Mine is that that A stay as it is, and B, that the MOU be denied until the formal MOU is concluded.
Is that we go with the recommendation? Councillor Arendse?
Chair, I don't know why Councillor Rowe don't want Greater Business Chambers be included there, because when it comes to our infrastructure, they are busy helping the municipality, and I think we must keep it the way it is. Thank you.
Now we are on page.
No, Councillor, there are two.
That's the same. You said we keep it as it is. You just said that it will be denied. It is denied.
Yes, no, what I'm saying that the MOU be denied until a formal MOU is be concluded. That's what I'm saying. That is where I stop. This is where I stop.
So what are you amending?
No, we don't. No, I take
What do
away
we
what the
take?
Greater Neisner.
Got that real? Okay. No, she's not lifting up. Councillor Luzuk.
No, Chair, I don't understand his, Councillor
Yes.
Low's amendment, because it says, he's saying up until a formal MOU is concluded, with whom? So, yeah, I would say at this stage, Chair, we go with these recommendations. I mean, it's still going to go to council, so, yeah, thanks.
It's like-
But I'm not a member of the committee, so you
Yeah.
can.
What do you say?
But your
Yes, we leave
recommendations
it like
must be
that.
understandable.
Like what you've just said.
Well, you must tell them.
It
Yes,
must make
we
sense.
leave it like
Chairperson
We
is
must
klaar.
talk sense here, Chairperson.
Die chairperson is klaar saam met my gestem.
No, but I want, that's why I wanted to say that now. You say we're going it up until there. What about the other half? So it's, no,
Read the recommendations.
the recommendation goes as, A, that the report on the MOU between Neisner, Teasin Island circuit breaker replacement be noted, and B, that the MOU be denied until a formal MOU is concluded with the Greater Neisner Business Chamber. Until.
Thanks, chairperson, you outvoted me.
Okay. Let's go on page 270, there's a recommendation. On page 272, that the contents of the electrical and mechanical department capital project report from January be noted. Let me raise my voice of saying that thank you to the department, recognizing especially Ward 1. I can see something is happening there at the onderste gaatjie. I'm very glad. And I can see that also, I don't know, it was a transformer that you guys have put there in water in Hlalane. There's a movement there, which means that, yes, we are getting there. Things have been done. But just one thing that I need to raise, when I went there, in Sedgefield, I found out that, I don't know if it was supposed to be like that. This is the street lights, the spray light, and there's a house there. And I asked them, who came first there? They say the houses came first, and the spray light came after. So I need us to look at that thing and see that is it not dangerous for us to have a spray light in the yard of the people. So I am happy about the report on what is happening. Councillor Arendse?
Thank you, Chair. Just one question around the upgrade of the main intake substation. How long will that take to complete it?
Eish, that's another story of this substation that has been vandalized. Hey, you know, I don't know, is our electricity weak? Because if you can go on Facebook, recently in PE, the ones tried to vandalize, even in Cape Town. They shocked and died. I don't know what is happening with our electrical department that people can manage to vandalize and nothing happened to them. Oh, what is happening? Because there's someone who sent a picture here and saying that, can a family come and recognize because he was trying to steal the cables and he was shocked and he's dead. Councillor, Jason.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a reminder to the director that it did indicate the questions I raised earlier in terms of electrical services that he would respond to them on this report. Thank you.
Respond on Councillor Arendse.
Yes, Councillor. Councillor, as indicated in the report, unfortunately, the construction period is not indicated. The RFQs was sourced. A report is meant to serve at the bid evaluation committee. Tenders closed on 26 February, so I unfortunately don't have that date. And in the absence of Pumi, can I send written responses, Chair, if that's in order? Thank you.
Thank you. Can we go with the recommendation?
But actually,
Councillor,
to deal with that is
I
like,
didn't recognize you, Councillor Low. He was answering on to Councillor Arendse. Councillor Low, you've been recognized now. Protocols.
yes. No, we if I read this whole thing, it's 90 days for this whole process, especially the bulk intake process this will take, because I can read where it is now, and after that you have this process of appeal processes and all these kind of things. But it's fine, at least we know where we are with this process. There's progress. The one of, okay, that's fine.
Chair, thank you very much. I don't have any question on this, but I do just want to make a remark, and it's unfortunate that Mpumi is not here. But if you look on page 270, Chair, number 2, the replacement of RMU's Eastfort and White location. And if you'd know, I think there were power outages recently in the area with regards to that, the RMUs of Eastfort. Now, if you go to the environment item that was submitted in the last MACO for the roads, for a road in Ward 8, I think, the environment was actually requested to be taken, there was 500,000 that was going to be taken from that, from that million that you see there, from that project. But if you read the report now, it says that the project will commence in April 2025. And that environment item that was presented to the MACO was actually saying, we will not be able to go forward with those projects. So I just want to make that remark with regards to this. Chair, but we will deal with it when we come to it. But I thought this is just giving us another picture. Thanks.
We will look on that, Councillor Chokolo. Councillor? Oh, the director want to say something, okay?
Yes, thank you, Chair. That was just the first portion of the response. Then, Councillor Jason, about the meters. There's been various engagements in regard to the procurement of the, the 250 water meters and 250 electricity meters. As per the 3.5 million that's currently budgeted for the replacement of smart meters. To date, we haven't sat with a service provider yet. We received all the information, but between us, supply chain, and the service provider, we need to have a final meeting to determine exactly what the scope and cost will be for those 250 meters, both sides, water and electricity. Because there has been some confusing information sent by the recommended service provider. Some of their quotations, it was a bit confusing. It only had supply and deliver. On other quotations, it was all-inclusive. Whilst the transversal tender that we're using from National Department requires the service provider to provide an all-inclusive end-to-end solution. In other words, supply, deliver, install, test, and to integrate with our finance system. So a meeting is pending. Hopefully within the next week, we'll see how these public holidays affect us, but we have to sit down with them and just conclude on that. Then there are certain very stringent administrative processes that need to be followed in terms of the terms of reference from NT. One, for instance, once the final cost has been established, in other words, only after we know what it will cost us to supply, install, and commission the entire system, we will be in a better position to see exactly, will we be able to procure 250 meters water or 250 meters electricity? Because depending on that all-inclusive cost, it may be a reduced number. Once we have that confirmed, then there's a secondary process to be followed. We need to send that information back to NT to vet again, to make sure that the service provider actually complied to their conditions as well. Before we send it to them, there's supposed to be an item coming to council first, and then that entire package go to NT. So there will be information coming through to council, and that may be, since we pressed for time, the only next council meeting is in May, which means all that information we should have in May so that we can start with implementation in June. You are aware, Chair, that there's 40 million that's been allocated in the draft 2025-26 budget. So once we run with this initial pilot, that will dictate to what extent then we will tap into that 40 million and roll out the rest of the smart meters for water and for sanitation. Water and electricity. On the streetlights, Councillor, I mean, if it's in order, maybe we can have offlines to determine exactly where the outages are now, because I see that as operational. Our team should be able to respond to those, unless you refer maybe to a capital project where new areas have to be lit. Chair, over to you, thanks.
Councillor Low?
Yes, I going to, it's off. There's 40 million rand for these. I still have my fight with it. For these nice, smart, because you don't call it smart meters, Director. You have a different name for it. I still have my doubts about it. Because it was never said to us, 40 million rand will go for that. It was said to us, we are going to have a 2 million rand, then we start with the pilot project. That's what said to us. And that's why I always having this fight. When we get into the budget, I saw 40 million rand for smart meters. Because it was said to us, we can start with the pilot process, the national government is going to give money for that project. Because it is coming from national government. Now, I hear that you are going to tap in that 40 million rand. And I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to fight. And I'm going to fight hard. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight hard. Because people have said here, Councillor Jason White, people have said here, and they said to us, a 2 million rand we're going to use as a pilot process. Then, when that pilot process has been up and running, then the national government will come in, because we want to get our revenue, we want to get our money in. That's what was said to us. And I'm still going to fight it like nobody's business. That we can't have the 40 million rand only for that. Where is the national government that said they are going to give us money? I don't know, and I don't want us now to argue. I'm going to fight it. Because we are going to approve the adjustment budget, the budget in June. And unfortunately, if people go to meetings, IDP meetings, it doesn't raise it. We are going to raise it in certain meetings. Because it's not correct. When you say something and you do something different, I understand your point of view. We are starting with the pilot process, there's 40 million rand that we have budgeted for and all this. I understand that. That was the draft process and so on. But what was said to me, to us here, I'm not going to leave it there. And I said it to the MM, I said it to the directors, the CFO, I'm not going to leave it there. And I'm not going to, I said it even to the mayor, I'm not going to leave it there. But it's fine.
Are you going to fight with us or with the province, with Bradial? Councillor...
No, sorry, Chairperson. The other thing was off the line. We were visiting a dam here somewhere. Then what location? That retaining wall is going to collapse. I'm not an engineer. I have took this engineer with me. This one next to me. I have took this one with me. That retaining wall is going to collapse. Because the photo that was shown to us by the ward councillor, if the dam is full, the water go up, and then it's coming up. But there's supposed to be a drain where the water is supposed to flow. But you know what the water have done? There's a retaining block about nearly more than 2 meters high, about 3 meters high. That retaining block is 3 meters high. And there's a house. And at the back of the retaining walls, the water het hy grond uitgekalk. Is uitgekalk. So this is kom ek sê is dat elke keer gebeur, it's going to happen, that retaining wall is going to collapse. I'm not engineer, but I can see from my eye. This is going to happen here.
Thank you, Councillor Low. Councillor Petros, and we close.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Low or Councillor Low.
It's not a Mr., it's a councillor.
Councillor Low, yeah.
Kom jy kom met 'n kip in die huis in.
It's Mr. Look, thank you for this thing that you've mentioned here. Fortunately, you've seen yourself what happened there, and then I'm worried for one thing. I don't know how many times I reported that. It's more than 5 times. And then I'm sure maybe the director and his team, maybe they want municipality to pay more than the money that's supposed to be spent there. Because when somebody fall there and get injured or died, I'm sure municipality, the money that are going to spend for that particular person who's going to get injured there or died, is more than the money that's supposed to be used now. When those people sue municipality, there's a lot of money that is going to be paid by the municipality. But never, ever one of them to go and see exactly what is happening there. I don't know how many pictures I've sent to director, how many pictures I've sent to council's group, but up until nothing happened there. The mud is going straight to the other person's house there. But nothing happened. Other thing that I want to talk about, director, on that, I think 3 informal settlements, there's no lights. And then at night, I know there's no money, but those people, I held a imbizo to those areas. And then they talking about this thing of the high master light. But I've told them that is expensive. I think we can maybe, our municipality, put the lights on the poles where are there already, because there is those 3 informal settlements, they've got an electricity, of which we can use the street lights on those poles which are already there. Then I would like you to check on that, director, that is there any alternative that you can use to make sure that those people get those lights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Low, Councillor Petros. Let me just go in there. I understand and I know that the municipality can be sued, but you know, in 2006, when you went to Magada, before Nelly's Tavern, I remember people started to plug there. I told them, I was not a councillor even by that time, we are not going to come and make a crossroad here because we need to have a road. We demolished those and they never built there. We need to stand up also and telling the people not to build here, not to build there. Now they are there now, we need now to assist them, but we as councillors, we need to speak about these things so that the other people must not go stay, because I know most of the people, they don't want to be removed. Look what happened there in White Location. People were removed so that they can get their houses. But we, the ward councillors, allow those people to get double. You've got your house, you allow the person to stay in that shack. Look at the way how those shacks were built in Bloemfontein. One shack that burned down, all of those shacks, and they've been electrified with millions. It is gone. Look in what happened there inside. It was a soccer field there, it was a playground. Those people were there for temporarily, but we've put now, they are building. Now those people cannot be removed, but look at the way how the house is going to be built. Now we need to stand up and tell our people so that we can get things done, because people they don't want to be removed. How can you come and build close to the dam? That is why I'm saying it is not the councillor's fault, but what does the town planner say? Yes, but the houses was not there, it was shacks. You don't build former houses, it become a shack, and then after that, they built. Now, why did they build for the people in a place whereby they can see it is danger for our people? Because the councillor is not engineering. But now he is there now. He is responsible for the lives of those people. But I am talking here of saying that we should also play a role of saying to our people. I remember I was a councillor when I found out there by rent office, somebody is building a shack there. I get out of the taxi and I go stop him. You are not going to build a shack here. You are not going to build a shack here. We need to stand up so that we can have a beautiful township, so that our people can be in nice places. But if you are going to allow everybody, and then once you give a person water and electricity, you must build houses there. That is what is happening there. I'm not saying that people must not be assisted, but we also have a big role to play of stopping the people for not building. They wanted to build shacks, nose to Chris Honey Wall. I said, you are not going to build the shacks there. I said, I'm not a ward councillor, but I have a right as a councillor to tell them, no shacks you are going to build there, because we already got people down there in Blade Square. The director was there, the sewer is overflowing. I said to him, you the one to come and build on top of the sewer. Then he said, I apologize, I know I was wrong. Can I be removed? So we must not run away of saying that the people have the right, Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, one person who's going to cook while coming from the tavern and sleep, one shack that is burned, all those shacks, they are gone with those electricity. Thank you very much. We have come to the agenda, the meeting. You said 12 o'clock, the meeting is adjourned.
No,
We've got.
Item chairperson, you are confused, man. Don't now becoming excited because it's becoming Easter. Now you're becoming excited.
Yes, we know we want to. What is this?
No, that houses. There was a consultant appointed by the municipality. A consultant was appointed, and that's why they have built the houses. The other day I was having a discussion with Mr. Marin. He was working in Timberletu. If people have to move, they move people before they build. He explained to me what they have done with the 3,000 houses there in Timberletu in Georgia, how they have done. Mr. Mason, he explained to me. Because what they did, because it was informal settlement. If the road is going this way, they mark your house and said, there will be a road. That's what the consultant is supposed to do. The consultant knew. The consultant knew this is what is happening with this dam. But the consultant allowed the housing department to build a house there. So even if there were 6, there was a consultant appointed, he get money. But can we go to this item, chairperson, because I have to leave.
Can you take us through?
There's only that report.
That the committee recommend to council to adopt the declarations and the resolution from the water and sanitation indaba as per the attached annexure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just support it. Thanks. Thanks, chairperson.
Go and do not sin. The meeting has been adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.